Hello, my name is Carmen Davenport, and you have tuned in to Get the Bag, Business, Assets, and Gains, where we talk to local businesses about their journeys, their challenges, and successes. Today, we have here with us Tony Sanders, founder and CEO of Gawlo.
That's right.
Did
You
I say
got
that
it. You
right?
got it perfect.
Gawlo. Okay. Let's talk about, well, before we even get into that, I'd like to know who Tony is. I love to talk about the person behind
Okay.
the product or service. Who's Tony?
Okay. I'll start with the most important, then we'll work our way down.
Okay.
uh, I'm a follower of Jesus, a child of God. That is probably the most important thing about me. I'm Michelle's husband.
Okay.
So that's my girl. That's my baby. Me and Michelle rocking. And then I'm also a father of four. So Tiana, Tayshawn, Tamia, and Trinaya's dad.
Nice.
So
Okay.
those are the most important things. Outside of that, I'm a natural born hustler, entrepreneur, and a slightly below average golfer. I hate to admit that, but it's the truth. Slightly below average, but I'm
average.
working on it.
Okay.
Progress. I'm working on it.
That's all we can ask is
Yeah,
for you to work on it,
I'm
right?
working on it.
Okay.
More than maybe Michelle likes, but I'm working on it.
Well, shout out to Michelle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to Michelle.
Tell us about Gawlo.
Yeah.
Tell us where the name came from and what that is.
Yeah, the name is actually a Western African name.
Oh.
So in the beginning of civilization, these communities would gather and they would have gallows that were like the leadership development people of their day. They would sit around campfire and through stories and through songs and all these other instruments, they would tell the culture of their people. And they were responsible for educating the community. And so we would think about gallows as some of the most important, pivotal people in the culture
Wow.
because they were responsible for training and developing the new generation to make sure that we kept traditions alive and cultures alive. And so it translates to the keepers of the stories. But they say when a gallo dies, it's like 1,000 libraries disappear. So like very knowledgeable people. And so when I started thinking about the work that I do and the work that I want to do, it was like, man, I want to be a modern day Gallo. I want to be that person that can gather people around a campfire, so to speak, and impart wisdom from my experiences and my research and the things that I've lived through, and just share that with people in a way that would be motivating and inspiring for generations to come.
Oh, I love that story. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think
know
the
that.
term people most often hear is griot. It's very similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it comes from that part of the world and that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what exactly, what are the things that you're doing that simulate that? What do you do now?
Yeah. So in a nutshell, at Gallo, our goal is to help build confident, capable leaders at every level of the organization. So frontline leaders, mid-level leaders, senior executives, business owners. Our job is to come in and help them be confident and capable. We have a real leadership problem, and it's not that people don't want to lead, it's that people are not usually equipped to lead. Usually the qualifications of how we pick leaders is completely different than the skills you actually need to do the job.
Yeah.
It's usually like, okay, you're really good at this job over here, we're gonna make you lead all the people that
Yeah.
do that job. It's
Yeah.
like, bro, those are two different skills. You're not setting people up for success. And so our job is to come in and help them be successful. And so what that typically looks like for us is gathered in a classroom setting.
Okay.
And we're talking about those core foundational leadership skills. We're talking about how do we deal with conflict? How do we deal with emotional intelligence? How do we deal with team building? The job of a leader is to take all of these people from different walks of life with different experiences and different mindsets and skill sets and unify them to pull their best efforts towards a common goal. That's the job of a leader. So to be able to do that, you got to have really good people skills.
Absolutely.
Somebody's going to walk in and have an attitude because them and their wife got into an argument before work, and you got to be able to deal with that.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to come in and they're not going to know or adhere to whatever social norms you think should be in place, and you got to figure out how to navigate that. Somebody's going to come in and they lied on their resume and in their interview, and now they don't actually know how to do the
They
job.
cannot perform it.
But they're on your team
Yes.
now, so we got to figure that out. And so we pull people together to help them figure that out. And we've discovered some systems and some ways to be able to help them figure that out.
I was waiting on this interview actually. I love what you do. One of the most intriguing things I saw on your website was, and I want to quote it, how growing companies create bad managers.
Yes, all the time. It is one of the most common things we run into.
Tell me about that.
Usually, when you're a growing company, you're going fast. And when
Mm-hmm.
you are going fast, things are going to slip through the cracks. One of the most important things that slip through the cracks is equipping leaders.
Mm-hmm.
We start to just think, okay, we're going really fast. That team is getting too big. We need to put somebody over there. Hey, we'll put them over there. And if they're smart, they'll figure it out. Well, sometimes you could be smart and not figure it
Yeah,
out.
absolutely.
Or sometimes you could be smart and figure it out, but by the time you do, you are so burnt out that you don't want to do it anymore. And so what generally happens is all the conditions that you would need to create a bad leader are present at growing companies.
Mm,
You don't have time to stop and train. You don't have time to develop. You are moving fast, so you start to be directive instead of coaching people. You start telling
mm,
people what to do instead of asking them and coaching them and bringing them along with you. And so what you end up doing is creating a lot of really bad leadership habits. And people get this sink or swim mentality because that's what it is. And so that's where you introduce a toxic workplace, right? Because everybody's out for self. They're thinking about, what do I need to do to survive? I'm
mm.
just barely trying to keep my head above water. And you create all this chaos. And that has never been more prevalent than in growing companies. If we're not
Wow.
growing, we got time to like think about these things. When we're growing, we just got to bring people in. We started out hiring A players, and now it's like, okay, what you got? A C? Okay, we'll take a C. We just need somebody. We need
A
somebody.
body,
That
just a
it's
body.
the mirror fog test. If you can fog
Ah.
up a mirror, you can work here, you can lead here. That should not be the case. But when you're going fast, it's easy to slip into that.
So you come in and show them how to slow down.
Absolutely. We show them how to slow down, but more importantly, I think we show them how to simplify, right?
Okay.
A lot of leaders get caught up in this firefighting mentality where they feel like they have more work than week. They feel like they have more tasks than time. And when we come in, I have to show them that your firefighting mentality is just that. It's a mentality. It's not your reality. There's
Mm.
a thing that one of my mentors told me when I was working for him. He said, Tony, I just want you to know I'm not paying you to get everything done. I'm paying you to get the most important things done.
Wow.
And that flipped something for me because, first of all, let's just be honest, I was not getting everything done. And I didn't know if he knew that or not, but I'm like, bro, thank you, because I'm not getting everything done. But number two, it helped me to focus, right? And
Yeah.
so I coach leaders all the time. Like, when you wake up in the morning or even before you go to bed at night, you need to identify the three things that are going to make today a success. If I could
Mm.
win at three things today before I go to bed, what would be those three things? And those become your priorities. That doesn't mean you're only going to do three things today, but you need to identify the most important things. And they often say, well, everything is important. Yeah, but you got to start somewhere.
Somewhere.
So
Yeah.
if you were going to start somewhere today, where would you start? Where would those three things be? And when you get that type of focus, that type of clarity, now you can actually run full speed at something, and you're not firefighting, trying to juggle a bunch of different things and really not getting anything done. And so that's the type of stuff that we come in and we help with, and it's a game changing impact. People feel so much better, so less overwhelmed, so much more in control when they can lead through clarity.
I think about change
Mm-hmm.
being probably one of the most difficult things for big organizations
Sure.
to implement, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you go in and talk about so that people are listening and willing to make those changes? Do you do some type of assessment to say, hey, if things don't change, here's where this is going to end up?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I will say I'm blessed and fortunate enough to be able to pick who I work with.
Mm.
And so one of the things that I look for is readiness to change, right?
Mm.
I would rather not take your money and not work with you than to take your money, work with you, and not see a change, not see that impact. And so some of that's on me, but a big part of it is the environment has to be primed for change. And so we have assessments and different things that we use for different scenarios. But really, what I go to look at, even in one-to-one clients, like, do you have a desire to change? And for most people, the desire for change comes from pain. If the pain is
Mm.
great enough, people will change. And so when I go to an organization and I talk to them about what we do and the ways we can help, if the pain is not big enough, they're usually not going to buy, and I don't want them to, because that means you're not motivated enough to change. Now, if we go to an organization and they've had to replace this same position 3 times And now they understand the numbers behind it. Usually
Mm-hmm.
when you have to replace somebody, it's going to cost you 1.5 to
Absolutely.
2 times the amount their salary to get somebody else in that seat. And then you got to get them up to speed again, right? So usually when they feel that pain, the pain of a lack of productivity, the pain of turnover, the pain of low engagement, when they feel that pain, that's usually the stimulus for change. And so
Mm.
I can come in and talk to you about those things, highlight those things. I can't give you that though. That has to be,
Right.
ready for it. And so usually we work with companies that are growing because they start to have some of those growing
Some of those pain
pains.
points.
And
Yeah.
that's usually the biggest catalyst to change. And I wish it weren't that way. Usually if before the pain happens, let me help you, right? It's like our doctors tell us, like all these preventative care
Oh,
things.
absolutely.
Most people should do those things, or everybody should. Most people don't. Most people, like, something has to happen bad and they're like, okay, I gotta stop eating the ding dongs. It's like, well, bro, you knew that
Yeah.
already, but you had to keep doing it. Now that
Yeah.
there's some pain. And so that's usually the biggest catalyst to change. So when we work with organizations, even in the early stages, I'm looking for, okay, what's keeping you up at night? What's
Mm.
struggling? What struggles are you having? What's stopping you from hitting your goals? Those are the things that I want to help you turn around, because it's going to have the biggest impact, and you are going to be the most motivated by those things.
I love that. And I love that you pick who you work with because there's so many organizations checking off boxes,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yep.
like, well, we need to make people feel like we're going to implement some stuff,
That's
right?
right.
So we go through these programs,
Yep.
we check off the box, we did it, we did it, we did it.
That's exactly right.
You leave,
Yep.
and things go right back to where they were.
Yep. And
So
then they say, well, we brought in Tony, we brought in
we
Gal,
brought in
nothing
Tony.
changed. It's like, well, yeah, because you didn't want it to
You
change,
didn't
right?
want
You
it
were
to
just checking the
change.
box. So that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about, and I don't know how this ties into maybe your decision making or anything, but what do you think about the pyramid? People talk about decision making, the
Yeah.
pyramid, the upside down
Yep.
pyramid, and what do you think about the order of the pyramid, the decision maker making in businesses? Does that affect what you do at all?
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. The
Hmm.
decision-making pyramid, where you go through different levels of
Yeah, like
decision-making.
like the people up here making
Yep.
all the decisions
Yeah.
and just filtering it down to the people
Sure.
down here.
Yeah. I think that it's a necessary part of business. I don't think the problem is that it exists. I think how you do it is important. So, for
Mm.
example, I worked with an executive leadership team, and they had ground rules for how they would make their decisions. And I would recommend anybody out there that's watching this have ground rules for how you make your decisions. One of the ground rules was, we will always consult the people who will be impacted most by our decisions. In other words,
Ooh.
if I'm an executive at this company, I'm not sitting in a silo or in a fishbowl upstairs and just making decisions and throwing them out there. I actually need to go get in front of people. I need to touch the people. I need to have conversations. I need to understand their plight and where they're coming from, and see things from their area of the business and their perspective, and then weigh that in my decision making ability. It's way easier said than done. One of the challenges of leadership is, the higher up you go, the more complex it gets and the more ambiguity enters the picture. And so there's not going to always be a clear cut right or wrong decision,
Right.
right? You have more information than what they will have at that level. And sometimes you can't share that information, right?
Hmm.
And so you have to be careful when how you make those decisions. But you have to make the best decision that you can make, consulting and considering the people who are going to be impacted most with it, and with the highest level of certainty you can get. It's probably not going to be 100%, especially if you're running a business. It's never going to be 100%
Right.
certainty. If you can get to like 50, 60, that's pretty
That's
good.
good.
That's really good. Yeah.
50, 60.
I
Okay.
mean, I
Okay.
used to want to get to 100% certainty or 80%, but
It's just not
you can't. You have
possible.
to make the best possible decision you can with the information that you have. That's all anybody can do.
Okay. You work with leaders and managers to become the kind of leader their people deserve.
That's right.
I think I saw that on your website as well. What is it that you think people most often deserve but don't get from leadership?
Oh, truth.
Ooh,
Yeah,
transparency.
truth. I think leadership starts with love. You have to
Mm.
have a healthy love and care for the people that you are serving, because leadership is serving. And so, what that looks like is, I tell you the truth, even if you don't want to hear it. And that is something that leaders shy away from. They'll see someone failing and not step in and say, hey man, you're failing. Let's fix this. They are trying to avoid hurting somebody's feelings. And so they take the path of least resistance, right? Well, I didn't do anything to make them start doing that stupid thing. So if I don't do anything, maybe they'll just stop doing it. Well, that's not how it works. Everything left to itself gets worse over time, not better.
Then they get rolled
You
up.
paint the walls, it gets worse over time, right?
Then they get rolled up.
Then HR has to step in. It's like, well, now I got to talk to you about, well, man, well, you saw it 6 months ago and you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's not loving people correctly. That's not leading people correctly. Loving people correctly is you see something, you say something. Now, how you say it, that could change, right?
Right.
How you say it is important, but we have to be willing to give people the truth. I tell people all the time, I love you enough that I would rather hurt your feelings than hurt your future. I will tell you the truth. Even if you don't like it, even if you don't want to hear it, I have a responsibility to tell you the truth because that's the only way you're going to get better.
Wow. I love that because there's that huge word that people don't like to talk about, accountability.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
People absolutely do not like to talk
Absolutely.
about accountability, but I see that. So
It's
do
big.
you work with just larger organizations? Do you come into smaller organizations of maybe just 5 staff? And like, what is your...
Good question. And the answer is it depends, right? So usually when it comes to our leadership programs, usually those programs are for bigger organizations
Okay.
because with the smaller ones, the organization is so flat that it doesn't really matter. The CEO is talking to the frontline
Gotcha.
employees every day, right?
Gotcha.
So the hierarchy isn't there. On the coaching side, though, I get to work with some smaller organizations. So there may be some entrepreneurs or some leaders that maybe work at a 50-person company or a 20-person company or a 10-person company and say, man, I'm really struggling with leading people. I can help those people in more of a one-on-one or group coaching session. And then, of course, I do speaking engagements. And so a lot of times
Nice.
they may pull me into a community event or some type of membership event, and I can speak to a bunch of smaller companies at once. I really enjoy doing that because they need a lot of this information as well, especially when you started a business and you didn't start it to lead people, but now it's grown to the point where
You've got to
you
do
need to
it.
lead people,
Yeah.
and it's important. It's really important.
Okay. And so you train or come in and train from the CEO to the front office person.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Wow.
It's all leadership. It's all people stuff, right? I mean, it manifests itself differently at different tiers of the organization. But at the end of the day, like I said before, we're all trying to unify these people to pull their best efforts towards a common goal. And it doesn't matter if you are the CEO or the stay-at-home mom trying to get all your kids on the bus at the same time. It's the same stuff.
Wow. If a young person thinking about becoming a leader came to you and said, I don't really feel ready yet.
Yeah.
I've got to do this, but I don't think I'm ready. What would you tell them to help kind of move them along?
I would say everybody is a leader already because everybody has an opportunity to influence someone else. So you're already a leader. Now it's just whether or not you want to get good at it. And if you want to get good at it, it takes a level of dedication to being able to learn, right? Leadership is a culmination of skills that are attainable. It's not like you're either born with it or you're not, right?
Right.
John Maxwell would say, I've seen a lot of babies born, but I've never seen, oh, it's a leader. It's either it's a boy or it's a girl. Not, it's a leader. So we can all become leaders. It's about just having the right motivations to lead and having the desire to learn how to lead. But anybody can be a leader even beyond your title, because a lot of times at organizations, the person that has the title is not necessarily the leader. Sometimes it's somebody else on the team that's truly the leader. The other person just has a title. So we can all be leaders. It's just about having the right motivations and desire to do it.
Okay. And you do virtual sessions for organizations?
Yeah, all the time. Doing one tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So virtual sessions, in person, and how long? I mean, I know this probably varies.
Sure.
The length of time it takes to go into an organization and do that type of transformation from the top down.
Yeah, it really depends on how big the problem is. Usually for our large organizations, we are doing cohort-based training groups. So we will get 15 to 20 leaders together, and we may keep that group together for 6 months and go through
Oh, wow.
different
Okay.
training sessions, or we may do a year cohort, different training sessions. We have other ones that we do where it may be you bring me in to speak on this particular topic at your retreat, and I do 2 hours or half a day or
Right.
90 minutes or whatever the case may be. But when we look at an entire organization, we're usually looking at multiple cohorts that we may even spread out over a couple of years. It really just depends on the situation. And I like that flexibility to be able to customize it to meet our customers' needs.
Right. And then is there on your website somewhere, let's say there's an organization and they want to see all the different topics or specialty
Sure.
conversations or specialty things that you offer.
Yep.
Can I go on there and say, oh, he speaks about this. Let me call him so he can do this for my team. Is that on your website? Is that something we could find or?
Yeah. On the website, you can check on our LinkedIn. It's there as well, my LinkedIn. Or you can always email me as well, Tony@growwithgawlo.com. We are actually in the process of publishing a new list of that for 2026. And so I'm excited to get that out there. I'm really excited on some of the topics that we're bringing. It's some stuff that's really important, but I don't think enough people are talking about it. So I'm excited to start sharing that stuff for next year.
Okay. And do you have space or are you always, I'm coming to you? Do you have space where people can come into
It's
you?
both. Yeah, we have clients where we have a space where we can go and do training, and we use that on a regular basis. And then some of our large organizations, they usually have training rooms or space, especially outside of Indiana. We do a lot of training outside of the state. So
I'm excited
Yeah.
I'm excited about this, right?
I am too. I'm glad you are.
I'm excited about this because I have like 3 organizations that I want to pass your information to.
Beautiful.
And so really, really glad you came. I have one more question.
Sure.
And then, well, before I even ask this last question, if you could look ahead or tell us, anything that you may have going on, coming up, or is there anything that in the next 5 years you wish you're planning on doing?
Yeah.
But give us some foresight.
One of my biggest concerns with the type of work that I do in my business is making it accessible to more people, especially to more people that look like us. Because a lot of times when I go into these organizations, there aren't a lot of people getting opportunities to come to the training because you have to be picked or you have to have a certain experience level or level of education. And there are times where I have a sneaky suspicion that those people aren't participating in the class, not because they don't want to, but because they're not getting the opportunity. And so I spend a lot of time thinking about how do I take what I do, this valuable information that, by the way, can work for you at work, work for you at home, work for you at church, and anywhere else in the community. How do I get it out to more people in a more accessible way? And so that is the problem that I'm committed to solving. I don't want to speak about solutions because the solutions,
Right.
May change, but that's something that definitely over the next couple of years, you will see me do more things where it's more publicly accessible. I get people online all the time and say, man, how can I see you speak? How can I see you? It's like, your company has to call me in, or you have to buy a ticket to a public event that I may do somewhere. But like 9 times out of 10, your company has to hire me to hear what I have to say.
Wow.
So if you see a 60-second reel from me on Instagram or Facebook or a TikTok video or YouTube short,
That's
and you
all
want to
you
know
get.
more about that,
That's all you get.
that's all you get, unless your company brings it. And that shouldn't be that way,
Right,
right?
right.
And so that's one that I'm looking forward to, and I'm excited for the next 5 years, really figuring that out.
I like that. That's very valuable, I
Yeah.
think. The last question that I want to ask you is, what's in your bag? What is your biggest asset or gain today?
I thought about this question. I watched some other episodes and thinking about how I wanted to answer it. But I think probably the most important asset that I've gained is my experiences. One of my favorite quotes is, "A man with an experience is not subject to a man with an opinion." Like once you experience something, you can hold on to that experience. For a fact that you've had these experiences, and then that shapes what you do in the future. And so when I think about like my ability to be a business owner, my ability to hire people, my ability to go get new clients, my ability to have an impact across the country, my ability to learn new things, my ability to adapt, all that is collecting these valuable experiences that eventually shape the person that you are. And nobody can take that from you.
Wow.
And if I could encourage people, even in saying that, is like, go collect some experiences. Like, go sit in first class. You will remember that.
Wow.
You think, oh, it ain't nothing. They just sitting a couple rows up. Okay, go sit up there. Go take that vacation that you've been dreaming about. Go to Hawaii. Like you've been looking at it online. Go there and then collect that experience and see if it don't change you. It will change you. And so, like, the experiences that I've been able to collect as an entrepreneur, but as a human being, like, that is extremely valuable, and it fuels the fire to go collect more experiences. And I think that's incredibly and infinitely important.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That is as powerful as the reason behind the name.
Yeah.
Gawlo.
Yeah.
I love it. I've learned so much today, and I'm so glad you came by. But before we leave, please, please, please tell everybody again how they can reach you.
Definitely LinkedIn is the best option. Look me up on LinkedIn, Tony R. Sanders. You can also go to our website, growwithgallo.com. And I'm on all social media platforms at Tony R. Sanders. So if you want to check me out some other places, you can do that as well.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
this was
you.
fun.
You have to come back. You
Absolutely.
definitely have to come back.
I will.
All right, guys, you have heard it. Please tap in. Reach out to Gawlo, Tony Sanders. You've gotten all the social media handles. Again, this is Carmen Davenport from Get the Bag, Business Assets and Gains. And this is our final session, y'all. This is our final one. So, Tony, you get to take us out.
I love it. I didn't know that.
This is our final one. So, again, just remember, success is in your bag. Right, Tony?
Absolutely.
Good night.